Good morning and welcome to the 11:30 operational media briefing. To open up, we have Governor Ron DeSantis.
We'll wish everybody a happy 4th of July. I want to thank the mayor for hosting us here at the county EOC. Also want to thank Wilton Simpson and Chris Sprouse, our legislative leaders in the House and Senate, for coming. We are going to be able to take them to the site later today to be able to see that, and they've been very helpful in supporting everything the state's doing. We are, of course, continuing to monitor Tropical Storm Elsa. It's located just north of Jamaica with maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour. It is heading towards Cuba. It will cross Cuba and end up approaching Florida, likely sometime Monday afternoon or evening. Tropical storm watches are in effect for parts of the Florida Keys, but more watches and warnings may be issued later today. Impacts will move northward up the peninsula, into northeast Florida, the Big Bend, through Wednesday morning. It looks like it's going to be in the Gulf Coast, in southwest Florida, into Tampa Bay, and then probably enter around Pasco County area, which is where Senator Simpson is from. But obviously these tracks can change, but that's what we're looking at now, something that will ride part of the West Coast and then enter the peninsula later in the week. Impacts, please review your hurricane plans now and restock your emergency kit as needed. We are looking at, of course, storm surge. We're looking at heavy rainfall, flash flooding. There could be isolated tornadoes. And it's important to remind Floridians, in the last 4 years, we've had more people die from carbon monoxide poisoning than from direct impacts from the storms that we've dealt with, and we've dealt with a number of them. So the reminder is, in a storm like this where you could see sustained power outages, if you do have a generator, you have to operate that generator so that the exhaust is outside. You can't put it inside your house. You can't put it inside your garage. And unfortunately, we have tragic incidences every year now where folks will run those generators in an enclosed area. So please, if you do have power outage and if you have a generator that you're going to use, make sure that that exhaust is going outside your home and outside your garage. We don't want to see any other fatalities as a result of the carbon monoxide. So we're going to be continuing to monitor the storm. I think in terms of the impacts for Surfside, which we're obviously very concerned about, could see some gusts, but it has tracked west over the last day and a half, more so than the initial forecast. And so we'll just keep watching that, and we'll be ready, be prepared. But we're prepared to deal with the impacts of the tropical storm in the Keys and on the west coast of Florida. And then obviously we're going to continue with the mission in Surfside. We're supporting the demolition and anything that the county's asked for, we've supported, and we'll continue to support it. And then obviously we want to get those search and rescue folks back on the pile. Thanks.
Thank you, Governor. Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Núñez.
Good morning, buenos días. Primeramente les quiero desear un feliz Día de la Independencia. También le queremos agradecer al senador Simpson y al representante Chris Sprouse del liderazgo de la Cámara y del Senado por estar aquí con nosotros hoy día. Como indicó el gobernador ayer, él firmó la orden ejecutiva con respecto a lo que es la tormenta tropical Elsa. Debido a la amenaza, todavía no se sabe la severidad de la tormenta y estamos preparados. Queremos de nuevo reiterar que los condados Charlotte, Citrus, Collier, DeSoto, Hardy, Hernando, Hillsborough, Lee, Levy, Manatee, Miami-Dade, Monroe, Pasco, Pinellas y Sarasota, todos esos condados son parte de la orden ejecutiva. Actualmente Elsa se encuentra al norte de Jamaica con vientos de 65 millas por hora. Estamos obviamente preparados del riesgo de tornados, lluvias e inundaciones, y también las vigilancias de tormenta tropical están vigentes para los Cayos. Estamos obviamente monitoreando a ver cómo eso va a impactar. Sabemos que tal vez va la trayectoria a ir hacia el oeste y de nuevo estaremos monitoreando y informando debido a los cambios. Los impactos, como dije, en la península, al norte, noroeste, y también les pedimos a todos los floridanos en este momento que siguen monitoreando y que estén preparados. Vuelven a revisar sus planes y asegurar sus equipos de emergencia. El gobernador indicó que hemos visto lamentablemente personas fallecidas debido a los generadores que ponen dentro de sus casas. Le vamos a volver a recordar, eso no es recomendado. Por favor, no los generadores dentro de sus casas. Y de nuevo, siguen las instrucciones del condado con respecto a la tormenta. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniella Levine, Cava.
Good morning, everyone. Here we are on the beginning of day 11, and of course, it's also July 4th. This is not an Independence Day like any we have ever experienced before. I want to thank the governor, the lieutenant governor for having been with us daily, and our Senate President, our Speaker of the House for joining us and showing your support, and for everyone who's here with us at the Emergency Operations Center. We have activated here because of the possible impacts of the storm as the operation continues full steam ahead in Surfside. The number of confirmed deaths remains the same this morning, 24, and all 24 next of kin have now been notified. 191 people are accounted for, 121 not accounted for. I want to remind you that the detectives are continually auditing our list to verify the numbers, and so this is very fluid, and we are sure these numbers will continue to change. Our demolition team began their work yesterday, and they were back on the site early this morning as preparations are underway for this demolition. As we mentioned yesterday, the search and rescue effort did have to pause temporarily while the preparation is taking place. This is to ensure the safety of our first responders on site, given that we have ongoing concerns about the standing structure. So as soon as the preparation is ready, the site is secure, and the team is ready to go, we will begin the demolition. As both the governor and I have made clear, our top priority is that the building come down as soon as possible, no matter what time that occurs, and as safely as possible. Bringing down this building in a controlled manner is critical to expanding our scope of the search and rescue effort and allowing us to explore the area closest to the building, which has currently not been accessible to our first responders, given the great risk from this building, which is insecure. So as soon as the building does come down, when the site has been deemed secure and we are given the all clear, which should happen very shortly after the demolition, our search and rescue teams will immediately resume their operations on the pile and continue their search. We are, of course, continuing to closely monitor the progress of the possible impacts of Tropical Storm Elsa, as hazardous weather conditions could force us to temporarily pause work again for the safety of the first responders, and we pray for limited impacts of the storm in Surfside so that we can continue unimpeded by the storm. I want to stress that we do not know a specific time that the demolition will occur. The team is working as quickly and as safely as possible to prepare the building, and as soon as we have more specific information, we will share that with all of you. All of the families have been informed about the impending demolition and how it's proceeding, both the families of those who are missing their loved ones and the ones who have survived this tragedy. We've already created a very thorough process for cataloging of any personal items that we find in the efforts, and we will continue to use the same great care with items that we identify following this demolition. We've been actively searching for days for any pets that remain in the building. We know these are family members and beloved, and we will provide a full update on those efforts in our next briefing. I also want to provide an important safety update related to the surrounding area. The team is using a method of demolition called energetic felling. This uses small, strategically placed detonations and relies on the force of gravity to bring the building down in place right on this footprint. And the collapse area is confined to the immediate area around the building. However, dust and other particles are an unavoidable byproduct of all types of demolition, and as a precautionary measure, we are urging residents in the immediate vicinity to please stay indoors during the demolition, and we will give you a window later of when that might be. We encourage you to close all of your windows, your doors, and all air intakes, and cover any other openings that may allow dust to enter your apartment, house, or building. We're also creating a secure perimeter to prevent people from getting too close to the demolition site. We need your cooperation to keep our community safe and to minimize inconvenience during this process. As we continue to monitor for the potential impacts from Tropical Storm Elsa, all necessary county preparations have been made and our departments are activated and ready. We continue to encourage all of our residents to stay prepared and stay safe this weekend. A reminder that you can get all updates, up-to-the-minute updates at miamidade.gov/hurricane, and our 311 emergency line is expanded hours available from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. for any questions. July 4th is ordinarily a time to gather with our loved ones and to celebrate our freedom and our independence. And this year, the holiday looks very different, as our thoughts are with the victims of this terrible tragedy, those who've lost their lives, those who've lost their homes, and those who've lost people they love. But through this grief and through this loss, the rain, the smoke, and all of the other obstacles that have been thrown our way, a clear picture emerges of what it means to be American. The story of our nation is a story of everyday men and women who summon great strength and resolve to face incredible challenges and to do things that have never been done before. That story has been written throughout the pages of our history, and now it's being written right in Surfside. It's been written by the extraordinary men and women of our search and rescue team, the first responders who ran directly into the collapsed building to pull people out, and those who've been risking their lives for others without pause or question for the last 11 days. It's been written by all of those who've rallied and all of those who've come together in a time of unspeakable grief and great need. This July 4th, we're reminded that patriotism isn't just about loyalty to country, it's about loyalty to one another, to our communities, to those in need, whose names or stories we may not know ever, but to whom we are connected by compassion and by resilience. We have seen more than ever how, at the end of the day, we really have each other. That is what we have, each other. I truly am grateful for that. So this 4th of July holiday, I hope you'll be able to take a moment and tell the people in your life how much you love them, how much you appreciate them. Celebrate the values of loyalty, of justice, and generosity of experience that we hold so dear as Americans. Thank you, and God bless. Buenos días a todos. Aquí estamos al comienzo del día 11. Y, por supuesto, también es el día 4 de julio. El número de muertes confirmados sigue siendo el mismo esta mañana, 24, con las 24 identificadas ahora y las familias notificadas. Se contabilizan 191 personas y 121 que están desaparecidas todavía. Quiero recordarles que los detectives están auditando constantemente nuestra lista de personas potencialmente desaparecidas para que las cifras sigan cambiando. Nuestro equipo de demolición comenzó su trabajo ayer y regresó al lugar temprano esta mañana mientras se realizan los preparativos para la demolición. Como mencionamos ayer, el esfuerzo de búsqueda y rescate tuvo que detenerse temporalmente mientras se llevan a cabo los preparativos a fin de garantizar la seguridad de nuestros socorristas en el lugar, dada nuestra preocupación constante por la estructura permanente. Tan pronto como sea posible, después de que el edificio esté derribado, cuando el sitio se haya considerado seguro y se nos haya dado el visto bueno, nuestros equipos de búsqueda y rescate reanudarán inmediatamente sus operaciones en el derrumbe. Continuamos monitoreando de cerca los posibles impactos de la tormenta tropical Elsa, ya que las condiciones climáticas peligrosas podrían obligarnos a detener temporalmente el trabajo por la seguridad de los primeros en responder. Y oramos por los impactos limitados de la tormenta en Surfside para que podamos continuar la operación lo antes posible, a medida que se completa de demolición y se despeja el sitio. Quiero enfatizar, como siempre, que todavía no sabemos una hora específica en que ocurrirá la demolición, pero vamos a notificar cuando sabemos. También quiero animar a todos en el área a cerrar todas las ventanas, puertas y otras entradas de aire y cubrir cualquier otra abertura que pueda permitir que el polvo entre en su apartamento, casa o edificio cuando se lleve a cabo la demolición. También estamos creando un perímetro seguro para evitar que las personas se acerquen demasiados al sitio de demolición. Necesitamos su cooperación para mantener a nuestra comunidad segura y minimizar las molestias durante este proceso. Mientras monitoreamos los posibles impactos de Tropical Elsa, se han realizado todos los preparativos necesarios del condado y nuestros departamentos están activados y listos. Seguimos animando a nuestros residentes a que se mantengan preparados y seguros este fin de semana. El 4 de julio es normalmente un momento para reunirnos con los seres queridos y celebrar nuestra libertad y independencia. Este año las vacaciones se ven muy diferentes, ya que nuestros pensamientos están con las víctimas de esta terrible tragedia, los que perdieron la vida, los que perdieron sus hogares y los que perdieron a un ser querido. Este 4 de julio se nos recuerda que el patriotismo no se trata solo de nuestra lealtad al país, se trata de nuestra lealtad los unos a los unos y otros, a nuestras comunidades, a las necesidades cuyos nombres o historias quizás nunca sepamos, pero con quienes estamos conectados por compasión y por resiliencia. Hemos visto más que nunca cómo al final del día todo lo que realmente tenemos son los unos a los otros. En este feriado de 4 de julio, espero que puedan tomarse un momento para decirles a las personas en su vida cuánto las aman y para celebrar los valores de lealtad, justicia y generosidad, de espíritu que tanto apreciamos como estadounidenses. Gracias y oramos.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chairman for the Board of County Commissioners, Commissioner Jose Diaz.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, your words are profound and very appreciated, especially when we live in the greatest country in the world. And today we celebrate the independence. Unfortunately, in Dade County, not many people are celebrating due to the tragic loss of life. But we still are inspired due to the freedom that we share. There's so many men and women are fighting every day to make sure that freedom stays intact. So we want to think of all of them and thank all that have been involved, especially our first responders and everybody, especially our employees in Miami-Dade County also that have done an incredible job. So I want to thank all of them. And as we move forward, I want to state that the leadership from the state, the federal government, and everybody involved in working together has never been seen before, the way we have worked together and done in such a professional and good manner and in communication in every aspect of it. So we want to thank my colleagues, and I want to make sure that that thank you gets out to all. We have worked, as you know, Madam Mayor, and all those, that we have been working for the last 4 days with South Florida Water Management to make sure that our water systems is adequate enough to receive a large impact of rain that could be coming from the storm that is approaching. We're blessed, and hopefully in Miami-Dade County that storm is not a direct impact and it is moving away from us, but we're still going to receive a lot of water and wind, and that is important. We are made sure that the adequate amount of spacing inside those canals to receive that amount of water has been adjusted and done. So I want to thank South Florida Water Management for that continuous support and help to us. This is something that will continue in a very hard day today. As the mayor said, when this building's demolition takes place today or when it does take place, to those families, we're with you. We'll continue to be with you as you continue with your pain. And again, together as one, working together to the common goal. Quiero darle las gracias a la alcaldesa por sus palabras y sus hechos en la forma de cubrir, de detallar que vivimos también en el mejor país del mundo. Este país es un país increíble que tenemos que darle las gracias a todos aquellos que hoy están celebrando la libertad de este país y la independencia. Y esa independencia se está celebrando alrededor de todo el país, pero en Miami-Dade County la celebración no es igual por el desastre que hemos sufrido acá. Mucha gente está sufriendo mucho y simplemente por eso es que la celebración no es igual este año para todos los otros. Estamos unidos, estamos agradecidos a todos trabajo que se ha hecho desde el Estado, el gobierno federal, el gobierno de los otros, del condado, todo el mundo trabajando en conjunto para buscar la mejoría de estas circunstancias. Mis colegas y yo le damos las gracias a tantas personas que están trabajando y que están haciendo la diferencia en nuestra comunidad. Llevamos ya 4 días trabajando con el manejo de agua del estado de la Florida para asegurar que no tengamos las inundaciones con el agua que posiblemente lo va a tocar de esta tormenta de Elsa en los días que siguen. Eso es algo importante para muchos que sepan, porque viven en áreas que se han inundado anteriormente, que todo lo que el sistema ha necesitado para descargar agua se ha hecho, y le estoy dando las gracias también al sistema de agua de manejo del estado de la Florida. También tengo que darle las gracias a tantos que conjuntos hemos trabajado juntos para asegurarlo que esta circunstancia se maneje en la mejor forma posible, especialmente con traer este edificio hacia abajo, que se va a hacer hoy o más tarde mañana cuando se haga, cuando se diga, que estamos pensando en esas familias que están sufriendo tanto en estos momentos, en todo lo que han pasado, y arriba de eso aquellos que están verdaderamente orgullosos de este país como soy yo, que vivimos en el mejor país que vivimos. De nuevo, hoy es el día de nuestra independencia y aquellos que lo celebren en la mejor forma que pueden. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. National Weather Service, Robert Molleda.
Good morning. We're continuing to closely watch Tropical Storm Elsa, and the forecast is still for the storm to move over the Gulf of Mexico on late Monday night and Tuesday. So for South Florida, that means that we still have the potential for some wind gusts to tropical storm force. That would be for Monday and for Tuesday. Depending on how close the storm tracks to South Florida, then that potential for strong winds could increase further. But for now, at the very least, the potential for some wind gusts to over 40 miles an hour with some of these showers that'll be increasing during the day tomorrow as well as on Tuesday. We also have the threat of heavy rainfall, which could cause some localized flooding, and again, that time frame is also for Monday and Tuesday. There are no tropical storm watches in effect for southeast Florida, including Miami-Dade County. However, we're continuing to closely monitor the situation, and with each forecast, we'll be potentially updating that information. But again, for now, there are no watches in effect for southeast Florida. but we still need to continue to watch the situation closely and be prepared for those gusty winds and heavy rainfall tomorrow and Tuesday. Thank you. Brevemente en español, seguimos siguiendo la tormenta tropical Elsa, el progreso del sistema, sobre todo ya cuando para mañana y el martes, cuando la tormenta se debe estar moviendo hacia el norte, cerca de la costa oeste de la Florida. Para el condado de Miami-Dade se esperan ráfagas de vientos posiblemente aproximándose a fuerzas de tormenta tropical de 40 millas por hora, tan pronto como el día de mañana y continuando el día martes. Estas ráfagas van a ocurrir con los aguaceros que van a moverse sobre la zona. También lluvias fuertes son posibles mañana y el martes que pudieran provocar inundaciones localizadas. No hay vigilancia en estos momentos oficial en cuanto a tormenta tropical para el sureste de la Florida. Sin embargo, debemos de continuar monitoreando muy de cerca la situación con cada pronóstico que se emite, y si algo cambia, obviamente los vamos a dejar saber. Gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Molleda. Division Director for the Office of Emergency Management, Deputy Incident Commander Charles Cyril.
Good morning, everyone. In close collaboration with the National Weather Service, the Miami-Dade County Office of Emergency Management is closely monitoring the path of Tropical Storm Elsa, and we encourage our residents and visitors to do the same. For information on our activities, you can sign up for miamidade.gov/alerts or miamidade.gov/hurricane. Regardless of Tropical Storm Elsa's ultimate path, we still expect tropical storm force gusts in our area and through bands and heavy rain and storms. We're also concerned regarding potential flooding and tornadoes. For that reason, it is important for everybody to secure their items and belongings and property today. As part of the county's own preparatory activity, we have relocated our unified command to the Emergency Operations Center in Doral. Our Family Assistance Center also remains open, and the operating hours are 12 to 5 p.m. daily. Thank you, everyone, and happy Independence Day.
Thank you, sir. In Spanish for the Deputy Incident Commander, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Director of Media and Public Relations, Erica Benitez.
Muy buenos días. Continuamos monitoreando la tormenta Elsa y alentamos a todos los residentes del condado de Miami-Dade que hagan lo mismo. Puede registrarse si necesita recibir actualización o información sobre esta tormenta visitando miamidade.gov/alerts o miamidade.gov/hurricane en inglés. También puede llamar a nuestro centro del condado al 311, que está abierto de 8 de la mañana a las 7 de la noche. Independientemente de la trayectoria final de esta tormenta, todavía esperamos ráfagas fuertes de tormenta y bandas de lluvia. También existe preocupación en respecto a inundaciones, marejadas ciclónicas y tornados en gran parte del sur de la Florida. Por esta razón es muy importante que todos en sus hogares aseguren su propiedad y también sus pertenencias hoy mismo si es posible. Como parte de nuestra actividad preparatoria del condado, hemos trasladado nuestras operaciones al Centro de Operaciones de Emergencia en El Doral. Y aunque hemos detenido temporalmente la misión de búsqueda y rescate, nuestro Centro de Asistencia Familiar permanece en pleno funcionamiento y seguirá brindando los servicios necesarios para las familias que lo necesiten. Hoy el Centro de Asistencia Familiar estará abierto de 12 de la tarde a 4 de la tarde y mañana volverá a estar abierto entre las 12 de la tarde y 5. Mil gracias.
Thank you, Erica. Florida Division of Emergency Management Director Kevin Guthrie.
Good afternoon. The state of Florida continues to remain engaged in the incident here in Miami-Dade with the Surfside building collapse. All state agencies are still represented here in some way, form, or fashion, even though we are also responding to Tropical Storm Elsa. For the Florida for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, I'll report that they have had 75 individual assistance applications for individuals impacted by this storm. Moving to Tropical Storm Elsa, as the governor has said, more people pass from our post-disaster, or what we call indirect deaths related to tropical cyclones in the last 4 years than those associated with direct deaths. So please heed the governor's warning, heed your local emergency manager's warnings on the safe operation of generators, safe operation of chainsaws, removing limbs and things that are off of ladders. Please heed those warnings. As we get ready to start honing in on the area around Tampa Bay area, as well as the Nature Coast and Big Bend, I would encourage people now to, again, start picking up their limbs, make sure that those are secured, those items are secured around your area, around your home. This area is very susceptible to large live oaks, water oak type trees that will bring down power. Again, be ready to be without power for an extended period of time, even though this is a tropical storm. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of water into that central area of Florida over the last 10 to 15 days, so please be ready for those types of problems as we face Tropical Storm Elsa. The last thing I would say is please listen to your local emergency manager for special needs evacuations, power-dependent evacuations, things of that nature. Your local emergency manager will know what is best for your situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. And for Creole translation, Cassandra Arnold.
Alors, nom c'est Cassandra Arnold, directeur service résidentiel et directeur affaires haïtiens. Magistrat veut dit tout le monde merci pour prier nous. Je dis à nous gagnons 24 morts confirmés. Nous localisons 191 moun, mais nous besoin joindre 121 moun. Nous suspendons toute activité dans le site Surfside là. Pendant nous préparé pour démolition, nous continuons travail avec FEMA, police et l'autre bureau l'État. Nous voulons tout le monde prendre précaution pendant nous préparer pour Tropical Storm Elsa, parce que nous avons pile la pluie. Moment ça vraiment difficile pour nous toutes. Mais nous voulons dire merci encore pour tout ça la communauté a fait. Merci.
Thank you, Cassandra. And we also have present, along with our leaders, Miami-Dade Police Director Alfredo Ramirez. We have Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Chief Arthur Holmes to answer questions, and also our county engineers from the Department of Regulatory and Economic Services to answer questions regarding the building. Any questions to start off? Ma'am, please address who it's going to be to.
Yes, it would be for Commissioner Diaz, please. Judy Block, ABC News. When you talk about this, the water management coming and working out, moving water from the area, can you get into some detail on how that works? And then specifically, are they doing something around the building site to ensure that that area has been treated to remove water?
South Florida Water Management's job is to make sure they monitor and move the waters around South Florida. They do it through canals, gates, the gates and canals and structures that make sure those waters are held or released depending on the need. Their sole job is to make sure that the adequate amount of waters and retention is done. For many years, we've had a great relationship with them in making sure that we don't have an abundance of water in these canal systems, because that way, if there is abundance of water and we have the large rainstorms that come in, then the water just moves on onto people's properties, into their houses. So therefore, working together with them, we are able to make sure that the water is expedited in the fastest process when a storm is approaching into the ocean and away from the possible flooding situations. As to the site is close to the ocean, and it doesn't really affect the canal systems as needed, but other things do. But working with them, and I appreciate it to the governor and to everybody in the state, the work that they do, and for us, it's very important, because a storm like this that brings a lot of water, that could bring 12 to 14 inches of water, will be devastating for us, especially if it's done in such a fast magnitude. So by them doing what they do, it makes our life a lot better. Thank you, ma'am.
More than 12,000 people signed a petition to
So we are putting together a detailed description of all of the efforts that have been made to rescue pets from this building, which have been very substantial and have continued. So we'll be reporting more about that at our next briefing, and can assure everybody, as I, who love their pets, that every effort has been made and is being made to save pets in the area.
Mayor, Governor, Ron with NBC. What is the level of confidence that this building will be demolished in its controlled, defined area?
So we do have some engineers here who could speak possibly, but we have been assured that this company that is doing the demolition has done this safely in other areas within a defined footprint. The footprint has been defined, and we will be reporting the details of that to you.
And if I could, to what extent are you concerned after the demolition? To what extent are you concerned about the storm impacting that rubble site and potential debris flying through the community?
At this time, because we're looking at possible tropical storm force gusts, I think we feel confident that we're in good shape, but I certainly defer to our weather, our weatherman on the topic. And the engineer.
Yeah, just to really to repeat what the mayor said, we're expecting primarily tropical storm force gusts. The general recommendation to the community is to bring in lightweight objects that are outside that can be blown around in the wind. Now, I mean, I can't specify or I can't speak specifically to anything that's there at the debris site, but again, the general recommendation for tropical storm force winds or winds of 40 miles an hour or higher are for lightweight objects to be brought in. So that's, again, the general recommendation for the community.
Also, a cover is being laid, has been laid on the part of the debris field that is closest to the building. And if you have any questions, we have our fire chief here to answer as to that.
A question for the mayor, please. Jason with CNN. You addressed this earlier and also yesterday. We would like to re-ask, please. Will any residents in the nearby condos or anywhere be evacuated before the demolition?
No additional evacuations are anticipated. We are going to send out a notice to all of the area residents as to the things that we mentioned here about the closing of the windows and the doors, et cetera, and not to be outside.
And how much time before the demolition will those effects go into place?
We will give adequate notice to the area residents, and of course, everybody is on standby.
Yes, thank you. First, I have a question for the mayor, but could I make a request that the engineer experts you all mentioned could stay after so we could ask these technical questions if they have time? See someone nodding, that would be fantastic if you have time. Madam Mayor, question. What's the timing for the the timing for the warnings to residents nearby? It sounds like you were saying they should turn off their air conditioning. And will the BD get the same notice, or do we have to run down these notices to the residents?
We are going to provide you, as we always do, with up-to-date information as soon as we have it. We will be giving the residents adequate notice so that they can prepare. Again, they're on standby, and again, we do not anticipate any deleterious effects. So as to the specifics, let's call up the engineers. About the air conditioning and so on.
Sorry. So good evening or good afternoon, everybody. My name is Edward Rojas. I'm the building official for Miami-Dade County. I've been asked to come and represent our department as an observer and to support these efforts. I know that there's a lot of plans and protocols in place right now that I'm going to be looking into right now. But this is a process that heavily relies on the expertise of the contractors and of the engineers who are putting this plan together in coordination with public safety officers of Miami-Dade County Fire and Police.
So how much notice will the residents get?
I'm not quite sure of that. It should have been, that should have been part of the process, should have been working in parallel with all the other efforts going right now. So notifications are part of that process, and they I know that they were working on those as early as yesterday.
They should turn off their AC?
I didn't catch that question.
That's what we're advising them, to turn off their air conditioning.
And how much assurance were you given by this demolition company that this would go as
So, as the governor said yesterday, the state of Florida is paying for this and assisting the local government. This is a unified effort, but we are picking up that side of the house. This contractor and the subcontractor is internationally known. He's one of only about 3 people that do this in the business. We picked the best of the best of the 3 that we had and went with it. We have extreme confidence in his methodology, and he has explained his methodology at a layman's level to us. We're confident that he is going to be able to bring the building down and not interfere with the rest of the site. And within a matter of minutes, as Mayor Cava has already pointed out, they will be back on the scene, back into search and rescue.
Yes. So actually, this is a question for the police who are handling the review of the evidentiary debris. So I'll leave it to our police director.
Good afternoon. Our homicide detectives that are on the scene working with the fire rescue personnel have an area in their village, investigative village, where they're collecting items that are retrievable and are logging them and documenting them at this time. As far as family members being able to go on the rubble, I don't see that happening. That's still a very dangerous site, but our detectives are very mindful and very respectful on any type of family heirlooms that we come across, and it's safe to get it. We pick it up and we log it, document it to be, addressed at a later date with family members.
Explain about the forms that they're using.
That's correct. Also, for our survivors or family members, we have a system in place through our state partners where they're able to log in and put down property that they may be looking for, so that we can look through that as we go through this process moving forward.
What is, Mayor Cava, what are the final determining factors as you guys are working on timing? I understand you're working with the engineers and the team that you hired, but what are the last few elements that you're waiting to narrow down on so you can tell us what time it's?
They're on site. They've been on site since early morning. They were on site yesterday. They're preparing the building. They explained to us in great detail, as was mentioned, exactly how this will work. And as soon as they give us the go-ahead, we will communicate that to the families, we'll communicate to the area residents, and we will communicate it to you.
Mayor Burkett said this morning that about 80% of the way there. Is that a number we should?
I'm not sure exactly at this point, and since he spoke to you, they've been continuing to work.